All right, welcome back, Laguna. It's been a while since we've been here. This is a very fun track if you are new to it. It is not that hard to get around, but it is very hard to get around fast. This track is also maybe a little more sensitive to setup. Lots of uphill braking, downhill braking, off-camber corners, fast corners, tight corners, and a corkscrew. It's got it all. So this is a track you're going to have to put some practice in to get that lap time down. For the setup, got 29 mils in the front. This is a higher ride height. There are curbs here that you don't necessarily want to go over, but most likely you are going to go over them at some point by accident. If the car is too low, those curbs can be pretty deadly, so the ride height is up a little bit just to add some forgiveness. Damper compression 18, again softened up a little bit for some of those curbs. Brake bias 57% for me. For you, it's something different. Watch out though. Very easy to lock up here, especially in a few corners with the uphill and downhill braking and some of the off-camber corners. So if you are locking them up too easy, try increasing that brake bias. That should help prevent that. Spring rates, low as they go, front and rear. You know my channel, camber is not symmetrical. 1.5 on the left, 1.8 on the right. Go with the higher values if you do want to keep them symmetrical. And look at all this yellow, lots of yellow. Toe in 1.5. This track, surprisingly, you need a very pointy end. A lot of these corners are off camber. There's uphill, downhill, like I said. You do need a very pointy front end to get the car turned in. It is surprising how much understeer is here. Spring rates again, low as they go in the rear. 1.3 camber on the left, 1.5 on the right. Go with the higher values if you want to keep those symmetrical. Toe in 0.2. Yep, just helping out with braking a little bit and tire temps and all that kind of stuff. And on the bottom half here, we've got 42 ride height, 42 mils. This is a fair bit higher than the front. This is to get the back end helping rotate the car. Again, this track has a lot of just natural understeer to it, and you need to get the car rotated around some of these tight corners to get into the apex and all that kind of good stuff. So the ride height is up a little bit, well, quite a bit higher than the front than normal, and again, that is just to help rotate the car. ARB is 20. Yes, you are going to need 20. If you are new to the track, if you're new to iRacing, you may want to try 15. That will keep the back end a little steadier, but you do need to rotate this car on this track, and 20 is going to do that. Damper compression, again, a little bit softer, 4 clicks, and 16 for the rebound. Again, going over some of those curbs, that is just helping not send your car flying off track as well. Just a lot of these uphill, downhill braking corners and stuff, just having a little softer suspension, just so you're not sliding and spinning out and all of that sort of bad stuff. 14 liters, that will definitely get you around the track for the race. 13 liters probably, if you're a little lighter on fuel usage, will do it. And gear stack is standard. I don't remember if iRacing has this at all, but standard is definitely where you want to be. Short is obviously going to be way too short for the straights here. Alright, so what have we got here? It was 32 degrees, so that's sort of the probably a little bit on the lower side of what the temps are going to be for the week, and usage is 35%, just like it always is. So we'll get into this in slow-mo and then run it out at full speed. So coming into turn 1, looking for the 4 and the 3, and you're actually looking for the line here. Easy to spot if there's a car in front of you. Getting on the brakes real hard. This is downhill. You can brake later, but you will be locking up a lot easier. Very hard on the brakes. Shifting down into first, and you can watch this at full speed, but you want to be pointed in towards the apex here. Don't be pointed out towards the outside of the track here. That's not how you want to do it. You want to be pointed to the apex when you're getting hard on the brakes. down into first gear, releasing the brakes as you get into the corner here. I have tried running out wider and then cutting back in for the second apex. This is a double apex. It is not faster. You have to get into this first apex, releasing the brakes, turning the wheel. Do not be on the brakes at this point. If you are on the brakes at this point, you are spinning out, and picking up the throttle nice and early to keep that back end planted, and turning back in towards the second apex here, getting tight up against the curbs, shifting up into second as early as you can. Earlier on the power, the better. You can lose a tremendous amount of time through here, and it is very crash corner, especially on lap 1, so watch out for that. Use all of the track on exit. If you don't, you are going to be costing yourself some time, and basically for the entire track, if you touch the sand, it is an X. So coming into the next one in third gear, just at the 2 board, just lifting, a touch of brake just to load up the front end. Cold tires, you want to probably be doing this in second gear, first couple of laps, certainly lap 1, probably lap 2, and maybe even lap 3. But then I do find it is faster to leave it in third. And then getting the car turned in, turning in, so reducing the speed. Whoop, we're messing up here. So lifting at the 2 board, touch a brake, and then you're looking for the 1 board as sort of the turn in. Do not turn in here too early. If you turn in here too early, you're going to be hitting that red curb in a whole bunch of trouble. Stay off the curb, right up tight against it, picking up the power nice and early, well before that red curb. And then again, using all of the track on exit. Watch out, this is an easy one to pick up an X for sure, especially on cold tires. Very easy to drift wide and get back on track before the curbs end. So leaving it in third, just past the 2, lifting. Cold tires, just a dab of brake to load up the front end, but warm tires, no brake. Picking up the throttle nice and early, and I got a little greedy here. Too much curb there. That cost me a little bit of time, and it's going to slide you a little wide, but that's why the suspension is where it is at. So if you do that, you're not going to be spinning out or going way off into the sand or gravel. Third gear, and just work your way up the gears. So this corner, very tricky corner, this one. Do not underestimate this corner. You will see a lot of people spinning out here. Looking for, again, the white line between the 2 and the 3. Whoop. Boy, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. White line, shifting down into third. Hard on the brakes. Pretty darn hard on the brakes on cold tires. This is a very slippery corner on cold tires, and this is a very cambered corner. You have to get into the camber here. I should be on the throttle at this point. I'm not. If you are up high here, less camber, you're going to be going a lot slower and a lot easier to spin out. So picking up the throttle, should have been picking it up earlier, and then yeah, just full throttle. If you're not into the camber of that corner, you are going to run wide and you're going to pick up an X, so just watch out for that. And using all of the curb on exit, that is how you go through there fast. Now I do find it is faster to do this in third gear, but if you're behind someone, you are going to be in fourth, so just practice this in fourth as well. Looking for the 2 board. If you're in fourth, shifting down into third. If you're in third, just lifting just a touch of brake, just to load up the front end a little bit and get on the power nice and early. You do not want to be late on the power here. I am a little late on I am a little late on the power here. Don't get on that curb. Just right up beside it, full power, and using all of the track on exit. The sand here, it used to be a lot more punishing. Very easy to spin out if you touch it. If you touch it, you get an X, but it's not so punishing anymore. And then just working your way up the gears, getting over to the left-hand side. Big passing opportunity here, so watch out for that. Aiming yourself for that 3 board, make sure the wheel is straight just before the 3 board. getting on the brakes and building up the brakes. If you stomp on the brakes here, again, quite a hill, very easy to lock up. So get on the brakes and then just apply them harder and harder as you get up the hill. Don't just stomp on them, very easy to lock up. Down into first and looking for that one board is sort of the turn in. This is just going to take a lot of practice. I can tell you how to do it, but until you actually do it, it's just going to take a lot of practice. So at the one board, turning in, releasing the brakes. If you are on the brakes right now, you are going to be spinning out, getting into the curb, into the camber of that corner, and this is a blind second part. Looking for these trees, basically when you're lined up at these trees, turning right. If you cut this corner too much, you will get a slowdown. Watch out, very painful. If you get on this gravel, you will get that slowdown. You'll also probably spin out. So watch out if anyone's going in there too sharp. Be prepared, they may be spinning out in front of you. And then picking up the throttle nice and early. Picking up the throttle gingerly. Don't just stomp on it. There's a pretty good chance, if you've done this right, all your tires will be on the pavement. And everything is good. If you've done this a little, if you've come in a little too hot, you'll have one or more tires not on the pavement and you stomp on the throttle. Once those tires hit the pavement, you are going to spin out. So watch out. Very tricky corner, lots of time to be lost and gained, and lots of cars to watch out for who spin out through there, because there will be. And then again, just working your way up into third, mid-track. You will see some people want to go way up top here to open up the corner. I find extending the track like that, you lose more time than you're going to gain cutting back in. So I like to be mid-track, third gear, and then once you get into the downhill portion here, very important, you're going to lift, but don't lift too early. If you lift too early, you are going to run wide. If you lift a little bit later, that just helps load up the front end a bit more, so you get a little bit more purchase coming into this corner, and then picking up the throttle nice and early, well before the red marker, and then working your way up into fourth. However, if you're not drafting off someone, you may want to leave this in third. Yeah, third I find is pretty fast, but when you're drafting, you're definitely going to be getting up into fourth. Now watch out on entry onto this curb. It's easy to just snag a little bit of sand here and get an X, so just watch out for that. So between the two, well, just after the two, just a dab of brake, shifting down into third if you were in fourth. Dab a brake and then turning in at the one. Again, do not turn in here too early. That is very, very, very big trouble. You will run wide, you will have to brake, it's a whole mess. So do not turn in too early for this one. And again, on the power, well before the red curb, and again, right up against it, but don't go over it. It will push you wide. And this is another one to very easily get an X. You come in there a little bit too hot or hit that curb, you are going to be hitting that sand on exit. And then again, if you are drafting, you are definitely going to be getting up into fourth. So do practice this in fourth. If you are not drafting third, you may want to leave it in third. And then looking for the two board, basically just past it in real time. It looks like I'm just maybe a car length past it. Getting on the brakes very hard on the curbs here to open this up as much as possible. Down into first gear. Again, do not turn in too early. This is very big trouble if you turn in too early. You're going to cut the corner, get on that curb, get a slowdown, a whole bunch of trouble. So you're looking for the end of the blue and white to turn in here. Releasing the brake. Again, this is a very slippery corner. If you are on the brakes hard and turning the wheel, you are going to spin out. And then again, right up against the red one. I think I took too much here. Yeah, a little bit too much. And on the power, I was a little late on the power because I came in there just a little offline. Picking up the throttle, using all of the green stuff on exit. No X for that. You can get all four tires onto the curbs over the white line. No big trouble. And then just working your way up in through the gears. very tricky last corner. If you do not nail it in your quali lap, you have probably wrecked the lap you're on, and you may wreck the second lap. So watch out. That is very important to get corner to get right. So that's a 130.5. I left a lot of time on the table. If you look at that optimal 130.1, this is a very hard track to nail all of these corners. There's a lot of corners, and the slightest mistake costs you a lot of time through every corner. So I left some time on the table, but just ran out of time to put in a better time. So I'll run this out at full speed. Good luck out there. Keep your eyes open because this is a crashy track. Lots of people will spin out in front of you if there are cars in front of you. So good luck. We'll see you next time.